Dear colleagues, welcome to the 6th GlobalX workshop on lexicography and neology. My name is Annette Klosa-Kückelhaus, and I can unfortunately not be with you today in person. So I have recorded my short introduction to the workshop and my welcome. This is the 6th iteration of our workshop series, the GlobalX workshops on lexicography and neology. And this one, as you all know, is held together with the 28th International Afrilex Conference at the University of Pretoria in Pretoria, South Africa. And we are very grateful to Afrilex organization and the local organizer Elizabeth Taya for granting us this opportunity to have our workshop together with the conference. And I'm talking about we, so who are the organizers? Well, besides myself, there is, of course, Ilan Kernerman from Tel Aviv, who is with you at the moment in Pretoria, South Africa, and who will host the workshop from there. Thank you, Ilan, for taking over this responsibility. Our aim with the whole workshop series is to bring together people from all over the world working in our field of neology and dictionaries. And we like to discuss issues like how to find these neologisms, but also how to classify them and to describe them lexicographically, to learn from each other about methods in the processing and compilation and representations of these new words or multi-word expressions or new senses in dictionaries. We have decided to host this workshop annually with support of the GlobalX Association, which is the Global Alliance for Lexicography. And the idea was to have this workshop together with international conferences for lexicography, alternating between different ones all over the world. Our main theme or topic this year is about how large language models can help us in finding and describing neologisms in dictionaries, but of course, other papers related to the context of our workshop series were most welcome as well. And all submissions really highlight the connection that there is between neology and neologisms and lexicography. We're very grateful to the members of our scientific committee who took over peer reviewing all the submissions for the workshop. We plan to publish those papers that authors would like to submit for publication as a special section of Lexicos, which is the journal of the African Association for Lexicography. And we're grateful to our colleagues at Lexicos who granted us this opportunity to publish some papers yet again. Let's look at what we've done so far. We started the series in 2019 at the Dictionary Society of North America conference at Bloomington, Indiana. And we were happy to be able to publish selected papers from this workshop as a special issue in the Journal of the Dictionary Society of North America called Dictionaries in 2020. And in that year, we had our workshop together with the Eurolex Congress at Alexandroupolis, Greece. You all know this was the year when the COVID pandemic hit, so we couldn't meet in Greece in person and decided to have an online workshop in November 2020 where some of the papers were presented. But we also had a special session at the Eurolex Congress, which took place online in 2021. And some of these papers are part of a special issue of the International Journal of Lexicography published in 2021, which is the Eurolex publication organ. Then in 2021, we also joined the Afrilex conference, which was organized fully online. And we focused in this workshop on the coronavirus-related neologisms that had been coming up since the outbreak of the pandemic. And these papers are published as a special volume of Lexicographica series Major in 2021. It's also open access. The fourth workshop we hosted here in Mannheim as part of the Eurolex 2022 conference, and some of the papers have been published as part of the conference proceedings. And finally, last year, we had the joy to meet in South Korea, in Seoul, in conjunction with Asialex 2023, and you can read some of these papers as a special issue of the Journal of Asialex Lexicography, and that was published last December. So what do we plan to do now? We have 4 sessions throughout the day, which will be chaired by some of our colleagues to whom we are especially grateful for taking over this responsibility. Elisabeth Taya is chairing the first session. And here we start off with a very interesting topic where we learn about neologisms in poetry and literature, which is really a topic that should be looked into in more detail, I believe, because literature leads to the creation of very many neologisms. So we are keen to learn something about a Greek author. And then Yongwei Yao will present the role of combining forms in creating neologisms. We all know that neologisms come into a language as loan words, but can also be formed in that language in using material from the own language. So we're interested in learn about what Yongwei will tell us. There will be a short coffee break afterwards before we proceed to our highlight talk, where we will present to you some information on a new network, the European Network on Lexical Innovation, or Neology for short. Ilan will present some information on that on site, but there are others joining us online this day who are involved with this really interesting initiative, and I'm sure that some of you might like to join in this effort. The next session will be chaired by Giovanni, who is in fact head of or chair of the cost action that we present in the highlight talk. And here we will learn about neologism extraction and dictionary description using or with assistance of large language models by our colleagues from South Korea, Kilim, Soyin, and Hayun. And then Peter from Denmark will look at neology and nomenclature, which is a very interesting topic, since there are many neologisms really to be found in terminology and special languages. And finally, Petra from IDS in Mannheim will discuss the functions that neologisms indeed have in critical discourse. Then it's time for our lunch break, which is about an hour. And the third session in the afternoon is chaired by Rufus Kraus, who's a long-time member of Afrilex and friend and researcher into lexicography. So he's presenting to you Vicky and Marina's presentation of verbal semantic neology in Spanish. And 2 things I'd like to point out. A, there aren't that many verbs that are new, so that's interesting in that regard. And also they discuss semantic neology, which is also something that we maybe potentially need to focus on more in the future. Then colleagues from Georgia, Tama and Tinatin, will explain how they detect neologisms in Georgian for their dictionary work with semi-automatic methods. And finally, Anna from Greece presents a survey of Anglicisms that have the ending ing, and those are either real Anglicisms or pseudo-Anglicisms, and I'm sure in many languages you will have pseudo-Anglicisms as well. So we're looking at a modern Greek here, but it will be interesting for everybody else as well. And then there is a short coffee break before we have the last session, chaired by Sonja Bosch, also from Afrilex. And here we will listen to Maria, who will yet again look at verbs, and this time in Italian. And here, interestingly enough, we have hybrid neologisms that take material from English, combining it with suffixes in Italian. And finally, Paola and Elisabeth close our meeting with discussing lexical change and variation in a very specific domain, the parenthood domain. And here again, we will look at terminography. And then Ilan will close the day with leading into the discussion, and we do hope that many of you will still be there online to join in questions and answers. Throughout the day, you will always have short time slots to ask questions regarding each talk. Each talk will take about 20 minutes, so we hope that there is plenty of time of asking and discussing questions. Please also put your questions into the chat, which will be monitored on site, and then Ilan will take care of not losing any of your questions. Yet again, I'm very sorry not to be with you today. I'll be thinking of you. I'll wish to you to enjoy your workshop. Have fun. I hope you will learn a lot, and I'm very keen on reading all the papers later and on watching the video presentations as well that we will record. Thank you so much, and goodbye.